There's one thing most of us hesitate to admit. The morning is shaping our entire life, whether we realize it or not. When you wake up and still scroll your phone, still cling to the comfort of your blanket for a few more minutes, still let your willpower be buried under old habits, that's not just a wasted morning. It's a sign you're slowly losing control over your life. It's not because you lack ambition. It's because you enter each day without a clear internal structure. You wake up, but your mind doesn't. Your body moves, but your soul remains trapped in old thoughts. And that's when you're most vulnerable to the news, to anxiety, to others' expectations, to the noise of the world. But once you realize this, there's no going back. There is a way of living that lets you reclaim your mornings. No motivation required. No one's permission is needed. Just one small shift in awareness, in discipline, in the way you speak to yourself in those first few moments of the day. Imagine this. Instead of reaching for your phone, you spend 5 quiet minutes each morning observing your inner world. You learn to step outside the storm of unconscious thoughts. You don't just reflect, you write, you act, and you turn each insight into a tangible step. You no longer feel like you're preparing to live. You are truly living. There's a secret that Stoic warriors, therapists like Carl Jung, and discipline founders have known all along. Strength doesn't lie in what you think, but in how you transform it into concrete action each morning. They don't start the day randomly. They begin it like a ritual, as if life depends on it. Because it does. If you've ever felt like you're always catching up, tired, unmotivated, hollow despite having countless goals in your head, it's possible you've never truly lived through a real morning. One that awakens you, centers you, and sets you into motion with grounded intent. This video is not just a reminder, it's a map. A guide to move you from chaos to clarity, from delay to action, from living in your head to living in the real world. But only if you stay till the end will you understand what's been holding you back. You'll see each part of this journey as opening a door, one that contains not just techniques, but a philosophy that can shift your entire life. And that is the core message of this content. If you change your mornings, you change your entire life. Not through miracles, but through awareness, action, and a spirit steady as stone. Like men who have lived through war, loss, and still chose to rise with each dawn, like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, or you, if you're truly ready. If something in this stirs within you, leave a sign. Subscribe, not just to follow, but to make a commitment to yourself. From today, you no longer live in the fog. Start your day with gratitude. There's a small morning habit, seemingly simple, that can change the course of your entire day, and in the long run, your entire life. That habit is gratitude. Not a polite thank you said out loud, but a deep, silent, inward sense of appreciation. A mental state that Marcus Aurelius once advised cultivating each morning. When you arise in the morning, tell yourself, "Today I shall meet the ungrateful, the arrogant, the foolish. But it is also a day I still breathe, still think, still live." We often step into the day with a heavy head. Unfinished tasks, unpaid bills, unresolved conversations. Even before our eyes open, the mind is already pulled into a dozen worries. That's how many people live, or more precisely, survive each day. And then they wonder why they always feel drained, tired, and empty. The answer is this. When you begin your day in scarcity, you live in scarcity. But if you begin with gratitude, you start to see the world through the eyes of someone who has enough. And strangely, you begin to become that person. Gratitude doesn't erase hardship. It doesn't make pressure disappear, but it changes your position. Instead of being swept along by life, you become the observer, the one who chooses how to respond. Carl Jung once said, "What makes you strong is not avoiding the darkness, but learning to live with it while still keeping the light." Gratitude is that light, a small but steady flame in your mind, helping you see what truly matters. Practicing gratitude isn't complicated, but it requires consistency. Each morning, before picking up your phone or scrolling the internet, sit for 5 minutes. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. It could be a restful night, a warm glass of water, or simply that your body is still functioning. Truly feel that. Take a deep breath. Say thank you, Not for anyone else to hear, but because you know you're living with awareness. That's the moment you shift from reaction to intention, from a victim mindset to a creator spirit. Gratitude also helps regulate emotions naturally. When you're grateful, it's hard to be angry, envious, or resentful, because your focus is on what you have, not on what's missing. This isn't fake positivity, but a method used by Stoics, modern psychologists, and elite athletes alike to stay centered in adversity. Imagine two people facing the same situation, losing a job, a breakup, or a failure. One sees it as proof they're worthless. The other, the grateful one, sees it as a chance to rebuild. Not because they're naive, but because they know life owes them nothing, but they owe life a strong and kind attitude. So if you want to master your mornings, start from within. You don't need an app. You don't need a detailed plan. Just one thing: when your eyes open, don't ask what you have to do. Ask instead, what do I already have? And from that place, you will act differently, speak differently, live differently. Not because the world has changed, but because you've changed the way you see it. And that is the true power of a morning started with gratitude. Wake up and focus on the present. Live fully in this moment, for it is all you truly own. There are times when you stand in the middle of life, yet your mind is elsewhere, dwelling on a past mistake, worrying about an unseen future, or imagining a life you've never truly lived. That's how most people lose their lives, second by second, moment by moment, fading away without a trace. The Stoics refused to live that way. They trained the power of awareness, a presence in every action, and alertness in every breath. As Seneca once wrote, "It's not how long you live that matters, but how deeply you live in each moment." This is not just advice, it's a wake-up call. Life isn't measured by the years you exist, but by how often you are truly present in the now. The only place where you can act, love, change, or begin again. Awareness is not mystical or distant. It is a deeply human ability, the power to realize that you are alive. When you drink water, you know you are drinking. When speaking with someone, you meet their eyes and listen with your full mind. When working, you give your full attention to the task. No multitasking, no distractions, no rush. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote in Meditations, "Do not lose what is right in front of you by chasing what lies ahead." He understood. Only the present is real. Every thought about tomorrow is speculation. Every regret about yesterday is a burden. Only action in this moment holds real power. Focusing on the present is a habit you can train. Each morning, choose one simple task: brushing your teeth, washing your face, making coffee, and do it slowly, fully. While walking, feel each step. When eating, eat with gratitude. No phone, no news. This isn't a trendy mindfulness technique. It's the way of someone awake, not haunted by the past, not ruled by the future. What are the benefits? First, peace. When you're not pulled forward or dragged back, you can breathe deeply and see things more clearly. Then, inner strength, because when you're present, you control your emotions instead of being led by them. Most importantly, you begin to live authentically, with yourself, with others, and with what you do. You don't need to clean up your whole life. Just clean up your mind. Start with one quiet minute in the morning, one deep breath before replying to a message, one pause in the middle of the chaos. In those moments, you'll reconnect, not with the world, but with yourself. Live fully in this moment, because it is all you truly own. Let go of the past. Free your mind. The past is a wave that has broken. Don't let it pull you from the shore of the present. How many of us are alive yet mentally trapped in a moment already gone? A painful word, a wrong choice, a missed opportunity. We cling to these fragments as if they still have power over our present. But the truth is, no one can change the past, and those who refuse to let it go are choosing to live in chains. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "You suffer only when you believe you suffer. Forget the past and live with what you have today." This isn't a call to avoid reality, it's a warning. When you give the past more weight than the present, you bind yourself to something that no longer exists. The Stoics didn't deny pain. They simply knew everything has passed, and only our response today remains. Carl Jung echoed this truth. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. His words open a door. You can walk out of the shadows of memory not by erasing them, but by moving forward with clarity. I am no longer who I once was. Picture the past as a fallen leaf. You see it. You acknowledge it. Then you let it float away with the stream of time. Each morning, perform a small ritual to affirm this letting go. Stand before a mirror, breathe deeply and say, I do not live for what is past. I live for what I do today. Just a few minutes each morning, but that act can calm storms that have raged inside for years. What happens when you release the past? First, relief, like setting down a boulder you've carried far too long. Then clarity, because once resentment, regret, and self-blame fade, you can finally see what needs to be done today. And ultimately, freedom, the kind that allows you to act with decisiveness, confidence, and independence from old ghosts. The Stoics knew well, emotions are human, but staying trapped in old emotions is not destiny, it is a choice. Self-mastery doesn't come from feeling nothing, but from knowing what's worth caring and what must be released. So ask yourself, what are you still carrying that's already dead? Are you ready to stop living today as a shadow of yesterday? Place your hand over your heart, take a deep breath, and let go. Only by releasing the past can you truly hold the present. From gratitude to kindness. Gratitude is the wind that lifts the soul. Kindness is the sun that warms the world. When you awaken to each breath, you begin to see how the simplest things are the most precious. Opening your eyes in the morning, sipping hot tea on a rainy day, being heard without judgment. From this awareness, gratitude sprouts, and if nurtured, it blossoms into kindness. Not as moral performance, but as quiet inner power, steady, patient, and radiant in the smallest acts of daily life. Seneca wrote, "There is no greater joy than offering kindness without expecting return." Carl Jung echoed, "A small act of kindness may be the light in another's darkness." Stoics didn't practice kindness to be praised, revered, or seen as noble. They gave because they were no longer ruled by ego or scarcity. A nod to a gatekeeper, a sincere thank you to a server, a few words of encouragement to someone worn down. Simple gestures, yet powerful enough to shift someone's day, perhaps even their life. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "When you can do good, don't delay. Act as if your breath depends on kindness." But for kindness to become instinctive, gratitude must be practiced daily. Begin each morning with a small ritual. Write down 3 things you're grateful for, be it restful sleep or morning sunlight. Then ask, what act of kindness can I offer today? It doesn't need to be grand. A thank you message, holding a door, a hand for someone falling. In this practice, you're rebuilding your inner landscape. Gratitude stops you from living in scarcity and blame. Kindness takes you beyond ego into the real world, where people need each other, whether they admit it or not. And here's the quiet truth. The more grateful and kind you become, the less you expect. And the less you expect, the less you're disappointed. Life feels lighter, not because it got easier, but because your heart got stronger. The Stoic knows, life's meaning isn't in lofty achievements, but in purposeful actions, gentle gestures, and a reverent breath. It's a life unfazed by the chaos of the world, rooted in deep gratitude and silent kindness. And when you live this way each day, you not only illuminate your soul, you cast light into even the darkest corners of this world. Turn vague thoughts into real action. Thoughts are drifting clouds. Actions are steadfast mountains. Let your will carve them into form. Each morning you wake with hundreds of thoughts, ambitions, unfinished intentions, silent promises that someday you'll begin. But the cold truth is, there is no someday. There is today, or never. Thoughts, if not turned into action, are fleeting clouds, appearing and fading into meaninglessness. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "You control your actions, but your thoughts only become real when you act on them." Carl Jung echoed, "You are not your thoughts. You are what you do with them." You could spend a lifetime dreaming noble dreams and die with regret, not from lack of ability, but from lack of decision. Procrastination, fear, hesitation. They are invisible thieves that rob you of youth and willpower. Try this simple yet powerful ritual. Every morning, before distractions take over, sit down and write one thing you intend to do, however small. It might be call Dad, write one paragraph, or exercise for 20 minutes. Write it down as a promise. Then count down like Mel Robbins teaches. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and act. No bargaining, no room for reasoning. Just move. You'll discover a truth. Willpower isn't something you wait for. It's built from movement. Each time you break inertia, you create massive psychological leverage. You prove to yourself that you are a doer, not just a dreamer. Every great achievement starts with a small act. The Stoics knew this. They didn't indulge in idealized visions. They turned ideas into concrete actions. Knowing only action reshapes reality. As you train this daily habit, you'll quietly transform. Big goals no longer scare you. You stop waiting to feel ready. You understand that action is the true beginning. Every bridge between thought and reality is built brick by brick, with action. Don't wait for a better time, more motivation, or ideal conditions. Begin, right now, and let action summon will. You can write dreams for a lifetime, but one committed act will change you into someone strong, proactive, and trustworthy to yourself. That is the deepest confidence, not public praise, but the quiet pride of saying, I did what I said I'd do. Remember, thoughts alone won't change you. Action engraves the will, turns vague clouds into mountains. Start each morning with a small commitment and move before fear finds its voice. And that is the core message of this entire piece. If you change your mornings, you change your entire life. Not through miracles, but through awareness, action, and a will forged like stone. Like the men who survived war, loss, and still chose to rise each dawn, like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, or you if you're truly ready. If this awakens something in you, leave a sign. Subscribe, not just to follow, but to make a commitment to yourself. From today, you will no longer live in a daze, wondering why others rise while you remain stuck. It's not luck. It's because while you scroll through social media each morning, they write goals, train their minds, and dive into action. They're not better. They just woke up 1 hour earlier. Let your frustration with your stagnation become movement. Let your love for yourself be the reason you rise. Not because you must, but because you deserve to. And let every morning be a reminder. Your life isn't shaped by fate, but by small choices, beginning the moment you open your eyes. This isn't a video for temporary motivation. This is a call to awaken. And if you feel that truth, then we'll meet again on some early morning where people like you are rebuilding themselves one day at a time.